Welcome to the Connor's Corner segment of Ask the Lawyer. Many of you know I've been interested in sports a long time, and the first pro football touchdown that I clearly remember was a game in Shea Stadium, and there was a tall, lanky quarterback by the name of Dick Wood, and he just threw the ball down the field, and who caught it but number 13, future Hall of Famer Don Maynard. And that's the first pro football touchdown that I remember, and we're very fortunate to be able to talk to Don Maynard, Hall of Famer, on today's show. How you doing today, sir?
Real fine, thank you. Appreciate getting to visit with you and whatever good listeners that you have.
Okay, now, you grew up in Texas?
Oh, yes, sir. My dad was in the cotton ginning business, and I moved around. I went to 13 schools, so I got to know a lot of people.
Where'd you go to college?
Well, I started school at Rice University, and then later on I transferred out to Texas Western at that time, and I stayed there till I finished and graduated and got my degree.
You hooked on with the New York Giants for the 1958 season. What kind of season was that?
It was great for me. We only had, I think, about 3 or 4 rookies on the ball club, and I was fortunate to play, and but didn't have that many players, but man, I got to play on a team with Frank Gifford and Kyle Rode and great ones that became in the Hall of Fame later on.
The end of the 1958 season or whatever, you got cut.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you got to feel pretty low at that time. What were you thinking? What were you thinking about your future in football?
Well, I felt like I could play somewhere, so we won everything in '58 with the Giants, and it turned out good right then. Later on, when the next year, well, when they added some players and all, and changed coaches, well, I felt a little disappointed because I felt I was as good as some of the others, but they released me the next year.
Back then, it was the New York Titans when they started in 1960. How did you hook on with the New York Titans?
Sammy Ball got the head coaching job with the Titans. He was a coach at Hardin Simmons when I had played in the old Border Conference, and we played those teams home and home. So Sammy, he knew a lot about me, and I kind of wound up being the first New York Titan that they signed, because when I saw he got the job, I told him I'd like to come play for him, and it worked out real good.
Well, it certainly did. Now, what was it like playing back then in the old AFL in 1960, 61, 62?
It just, there wasn't that many fans a lot of times, but at the same time, we had good togetherness on the ball club, and that made all the difference in the world.
Now, eventually, the New York Titans become the New York Jets, and they hire Weeb Ewbank as the coach. What changed when he became the coach?
Well, naturally, Sammy Ball was a great quarterback himself, and we threw the ball a whole lot. And then when Weeb came in, well, he adapted some more running plays than that made a lot of difference.
Okay, now Weeb Ewbank, you played against him. He coached the Colts back in those championship games.
Right.
So did he have respect for you? Did he feel like he was playing if there was coaching an NFL team, or did he think maybe, well, these guys are not quite as good?
Well, I'm not quite sure. Everybody, even fans around the country and different people, and even Weeb, he felt like he didn't have as good a team as he had back with the Baltimore Colts when you got those great ball players.
Okay, now eventually the Jets start to get, Joe Namath comes in, the Jets get to be a pretty good team. And I remember on December 29th, 1968, the AFL Championship game between you guys and the Raiders. Now that was at Shea Stadium, which is one of the coldest places on earth during the winter.
Yeah.
I mean, a guy from Texas, how did you acclimate to that?
You just, there's been some cold games other times back in college somewhere off and on, especially later in the year, late in December. So you guys are pros all the way around, and you just go out, on game day, and you play the best you can, and sure hope you'll win.
You had a great day that day, and it's probably one of the best clutch performances in a championship game ever. How much do you remember about that game?
I just remember that a lot of the press, they expected the NFL team to win and play and all, but they never had. I don't think they'd played against a great passing coach as Sammy Ball, and we come out in great shape. And when it was all over with, we'd won the ball game. Getting
back to the championship game against the Raiders, what do you remember against that game against the Raiders? George Atkinson, your touchdown catches.
I knew Oakland. You always played everybody home and home, and we respected the Raiders and their ball club, but we knew we was going to be in for a tough game, and as a result, we came out with good plays and careful plays, and we won the ball game.
You caught the winning touchdown pass.
You just a lot of times you get going, you sometimes don't realize anything except whether you're ahead or you're behind, and we lucked out, and we played good, and we wound up and won the game.
Now, after that game, what did you assess your chances of beating the Colts?
Well, we respected the Colts without a doubt, but with the great Sammy Ball calling the offensive situation, and we had an outstanding coach come in, and Weeb Eubank, and that made a lot of difference. He'd been in some championship situations, playoffs and all, and Weeb did okay, and we sure did also.
Now, what was it like playing with Joe Namath?
Joe, when he came in, I'd played a little bit, and I knew the passing game from Texas Western, playing Hardin Simmons in the old border conference, and they threw the ball a lot, and we knew if we didn't make any mistakes, we could come out and maybe play the upset of the century.
Well, that you do, and you're remembered in history. Now, when you retired, if I'm not mistaken, you had more yards receiving than any other receiver in the history of the game.
Yes, sir.
So, when I remember you, I mean, I'm not saying you never dropped a pass, but it seemed like you never dropped a pass.
I learned all the tricks and all from the great Sammy Ball, and also Bones Taylor, the end and receiver coach. And I just played careful, and I did exactly what I was supposed to do.
And a lot of times your great speed, your loping strides or whatever, before you know it, you were behind the defensive back.
That's right. I always ran my pass patterns and all under control and being real careful so that if there was somebody over there that's gonna be close, well, if I have to, whether the ball's short or long, I could go get it, and I had some speed left, and I fooled a lot of defensive backs, I think.
I think you did. The results speak for themselves. And listen, like us old Jet fans appreciate what you accomplished in those years, because in the early '60s you were the star. We all liked watching you. Dick Wood cranking up and throwing to you, and of course Joe Namath in the Super Bowl. Do you watch football much today?
Oh yeah, whatever's kind of going on, I enjoy. Watching the college games when they're on, and then the pros when they come on Sunday. Well, then we have a little group and a coffee and sit around, and we'd be watching the ball game on Sunday.
What is the biggest difference between the game today and when you played?
Well, I think mainly the experience of the coaches that had gained the experience and the knowledge, but the same thing about the players. There's more of them. There's more on a team, so you got some extra help that the guy sitting over on the bench kind of can tell you what you need to do if at a timeout. Just like when I was real fortunate. We had George Sauer and Beck Turner and Pete Lemons, and we'd always discuss things. Boy, the minute we came off the field, we're talking over there in a little huddle, and it worked out real good. And golly, when the thing was all over with, well, here we'd won the Super Bowl.
Well, thank you for giving us that thrill. And again, the old Jet fans, they love you. They remember you. And like I said, I don't think I ever remember seeing you drop a pass. And that's not even counting all the ones that you just fooled that defensive back and you were out in the open by yourself. So thank you for those memories.
Somebody said, how fast were you? I said, well, I was scared fast. I never was caught from behind, and that helps when they put the score up on the board.
Don Maynard, thank you.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great year.
We hope to.